Hello and welcome. I am Scarpalock, and this is City of Heroes on the Rebirth server. We are with Quintessence last, our brute who has 274,000 experience earned, 17,000 to go to get to the next level, nearly 2 million infamy or influence because I just traded some down from Tiger Strike. We're in the middle of a mission. I actually recorded about 13 minutes, and then this server reboot happened, and I don't know, they didn't warn us, and I didn't realize they were going to do it, and I guess they don't warn because it's a regularly scheduled thing, or I don't know. I thought they did it much later at night on Sundays, but the reboot does seem to have happened because I have another reward merit now, or whatever it is, another veteran reward token. So we've missed a little bit. So we're working with Claire Childress, and she sent us actually to Rondell Jackson, who told us there was a cop who was working with the Freak Show and he has disappeared. And so we're looking for him. And so that's what we were supposed to be doing in this base. I'll fill you in on a little bit of stuff that I've been doing off screen. I actually did the radio missions until I got a bank robbery to stop, and when I stopped the bank robbery, the detective didn't give me any contacts at all. I had my experience turned off for that, so I didn't gain any XP during that time, and it was basically just a waste of my time. I mean, I got some influence, but I don't really need influence, so it was basically a waste of my time. So I don't know how I'm going to get Andrea Mitchell. I'm just going to keep trying to do missions until hopefully I get hold of her. And, yeah, we'll just do the best we can. If necessary, I will use Ouroboros. I am going to do the Wheel of Destruction. I'd just rather not do it as a flashback if I can avoid it, because I'd rather do it naturally with this character. Um, One of the things I actually talked about in that last mission, and hopefully I'll be able to show you here, is just exactly how the stacking of the debuff works. So keep in mind that each time we strike with one of our attacks, it does a 5.5%. I'm just going to round it to 5% to make it easier. It'll be off by a couple, but a 5% debuff. You can see the yellow. It's the third line down in each one of these. It's a 5% debuff to hit on these four powers. When you hit an enemy, he's got a 5% less chance to hit you. Now, in terms of what that means, we have about a 20% defense, which means the way this works, he's got a 50% to hit, minus whatever the debuff is, and then minus my defense. Okay, so if you put one of those debuffs on, we got about a 22% defense. You put a 5% debuff on it. Basically, it's going to be minus 27% to his chance to hit, dropping his chance to hit if he's a white con minion to 23%. And so one of the people who commented was talking about spreading the wealth, right? Punching everybody in the mob every mob in the spawn a little bit to debuff them. And I said in a comment to that person, and I mentioned it here as well, I don't agree with that. I personally believe in stacking the debuffs, right? And so I'm not going to do it in this spawn because I'm still explaining things, but that means that what you want to do, the debuffs last 10 seconds, and so what I want to do is take one guy and hit him as much. Of course, missing doesn't help, but you want to hit him as much as possible, as many times in a row, as quickly in a row as you can, so that over a 10-second period, you've debuffed him several times, and he's now at multiples of minus 5%. I don't know why I'm missing so much. There's no reason to be missing this much. And so the more you hit this one guy, the harder it's going to be for him to hit you back. Now, of course, while I'm only hitting this guy, right, the other guy shooting at me is just working against my defense. My defense is pretty good. It's still dropping him to like 30% to hit, which is non-terrible. And my defense will get a little bit better as I level up. But the most important thing to me is that you want to debuff those guys. And the stacking is what helps. I want to floor one, take him out, floor the next one, take him out, and so on. So now, how do you get him to floor? Well, you're at about 22% here. He's got a 50% base to hit, maybe a little bit more if it's an orange con, maybe 55. So fighting a white con, he's got a 50% chance to hit if it's a minion. It's minus 21 gets him to 29%. If you can stack 5 debuffs, get him down to 4%. The floor is 5, and you've got him floored. Now this guy won't be quite floored, but the way this works, so the best way to do this, and the way I want to illustrate it, I don't normally open with Shadow Maul, but I'm going to open with Shadow Maul, and the reason is that Shadow Maul, it has about a 10-second cycle. What I mean by that is it takes about 8 seconds to recharge and about 3 seconds to activate. So it's just over 10 seconds. So if you hit with Shadow Maul, it takes 3 seconds to animate, and the debuff, you've laid a debuff on the guy, a 5% debuff that lasts 10 seconds. So it'll last through the 3 seconds of the Shadow Maul, and then it'll last through about 7 of the next 8 seconds of the recharge. So when you see Shadow Maul recharge, the original debuff that you put on him with the first Shadow Maul is expiring, or has just about expired. Anything you lay on him in between when you start the first Shadow Maul and when it recharges will also still be in effect, because they all go 10 seconds. So if the first one's still in effect, anything afterwards is still in effect. So what you do to see like how many debuffs you can lay on the guy is hit with the Shadow Maul, and then count how many more of them you get to lay on the guy before this one relights, and that's how many debuffs you have. Right, so let me show you what I mean. We're going to go against this yellow con, and I'm going to start with Shadow Maul. Okay, he's at minus 5. Then, assuming they all hit, minus 10, minus 15, minus 20, minus 25, and then it's recharged. So you can get him to minus 25. If you relentlessly, sort of mindlessly, single-mindedly, I guess, just attack one guy, you can get him to minus 25, assuming you hit each time. Now, sometimes you may miss. That's minus 20, right? But that minus 20 combined with your 21% defense, so smashing and lethal, if that's the attack that they're using, can pretty close to floor the guy, and certainly make it very hard for him to hit you. Right, and even if you miss with 1 or 2 of those, you're still dropping him to like 15, 16% chance to hit. Now, one of the things that I normally do with a Scrapper and a Stalker is, well, one of the things I normally do with a Scrapper is in a spawn that has enemies of different ranks, lieutenants and minions, or bosses and minions, I will normally go with a Scrapper for the weakest. Pick off the weakest as fast as possible, bang bang, they're dead. Get rid of the 2 or 3 weak guys, and then I'm fighting the strong guy all by himself, and he can't do too much to me, right? Because there's just one of him, right? And I'm not constantly being, death by 1,000 cut by the minions that surround the boss or the lieutenant. And that does work really well for a Scrapper. Note that when I was a Stalker, however, I didn't do that. Because you get the really big assassination pound on that first hit, I would often pick on the strongest guy in the spawn and hammer him, because I knew I was going to take his health down to like a quarter, and then I would just finish him off. However, with a Scrapper, I always started with the little guy. So with a Brute, my initial play with this character has been to do the same thing as a Scrapper, right? Go for the minions, take them out, and then go for the big guy. But as I thought about this, I think that's actually the wrong move. I think with a Brute, at least with a Dark Melee Brute, and this would probably be true with a Dark Melee Scrapper as well, with Dark Melee, because it's debuffing the enemy, because you can only floor really one guy at a time, the only alternative is to spread it out amongst different enemies and have them each at minus 5% instead of flooring one person. Because you can only debuff one guy at a time to floor them, or nearly floor them, I think you're better off going after the strongest, highest ranked enemy first, floor that guy, and then just don't worry about the minions too much, right? Because they really can't do much to you. Okay, so I think that realistically, you want to go after the the highest rank guy first if you've got something like Dark Melee that debuffs their 2-hit, right? Because then if you can make sure the boss keeps missing you, then you don't have to worry that much. The minions can't do that much to you. But if you're pounding one minion while the boss is not being debuffed and is just hammering on you, then you're going to get really hammered, right? You're going to really pound it. So, so anyway, that's my revised thinking, I guess, on what to do about the different ranks. You see, like here, I was fighting the lieutenant instead, and I was facing him and not worrying about the minion, right? Because it was the lieutenant that I was trying to make sure would miss me. And I think that that's probably the right play with Dark Melee. Right, so here, with a Scrapper, I would go after the minion first. With a Stalker, even, I might go after the minion first just to take him out of the game. But because, with Claws, right? But because we're doing Dark Melee and we're going to debuff this boss, right, his base to hit me is probably something like 75%. Take 21 off, it's 53 or 4. If I can hit him 4 or 5 times, get him down to 25% to hit, that's going to save my bacon, right? So it's going to save me a lot of damage. And if I add 1 luck, then he's going to have a very hard time hitting me if I can focus on him, right? He's now at minus 25, right? So now if I can just keep non-stop hitting him, he will be at, and my recharge isn't quite good enough to be perfect at this, but he'll basically stay at minus 25% to hit the whole time. Unless he can do something like stun me, or, you know, like overcome my Mez defense somehow, or something like that, or if I get a miss chain, you know, where I'm constantly missing, he's basically floored, so he can't hit me. And notice the minion is just not doing anything to me. Right, I haven't debuffed the minion at all, but he's just totally useless. 1 minion isn't going to do anything to you. Now, as a martial arts scrapper, yeah, I go in and take the minion out first because I can go bang, 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 he's dead, and I can't really debuff the boss anyway. Right, and the minion, you might be able to stun him or something with a Cobra Strike. But when you're doing Dark Melee, I think you're much better off using the debuffs against the top rank guy in the spawn. Now, if it's only minions, then obviously it doesn't matter which guy you hit first, and to some degree it doesn't matter at all because minions, even orange and red ones, probably aren't going to kill you. But when you're facing red lieutenants, when you're facing red and purple bosses or an elite boss, you're better off, I think, doing as much debuffing as possible. And we have completed the mission. Is there anybody? I feel like we missed some guys here, but you know what? I'm not going to farm this. You know, like I'm not going to worry about it, even though I should in character, because I don't necessarily want to get too much XP, right? So I'm having trouble getting Andrea to pop. I don't, you know, like there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to keep working with different contacts, and if I have to, I'll turn the XP off, and I won't record stuff. Yeah, I won't record gameplay where I'm not gaining experience. I feel like there's no point to doing that. If you want to watch those missions, I did just every mission under the sun, especially in the first like 25 levels with Silver Phoenix, because I was so happy to be back in City of Heroes. I didn't want to miss a thing. And I'm still happy to be in City of Heroes, but I've done it all now a bunch of times, so it's okay if I miss one or two things. Red Hands with that group. Oh man, word on the street is that they're going to assault a council base. I need you to head over there and get Iron Hand to safety. So what these guys don't realize, but I do because I've done this with Silver Phoenix, is Red Hand is turned traitor and is working with the freaks, I'm pretty sure. So he is a police officer who's undercover pretending to be a freak show. And he's pretending to be one of them, or at least so the cops think, and I think he's actually become one of them. And so that's the story. Alice Park is such a pretty zone. Now, the the fountains, the animated fountains, I think those are new. I don't think they were part of the original launch. I think those were like added when they updated the graphics in, I don't know, it was 2009, something like that. They did a couple of graphical updates. At first, the initial graphic update was City of Villains, City of Heroes stayed lower end, and City of Villains kind of was more high end. And I don't think they updated City of Heroes right away because City of Villains was killing people's graphics cards when it first came out. It was really pushing what computers could do. And then I think later on they did an update of City of Heroes, but I'm not sure which issue it was. So now we're facing the council. So again here we're going to pick on the lieutenant rather than the minion because we're going to want to try to debuff him. Right, and then he will miss me because he's at now minus 15, minus 20, minus 25. And so now we've got him fully debuffed. And again, we're probably not able to keep these guys at minus 25, mainly because we don't have quite our full attack chain because we don't have all of the recharge bonus on all of our powers yet. Right. Well, we kind of do have recharge bonus on all our powers. So we're going to need another attack in here. Also, one of the things that I noticed fighting Sky Raiders with their teleporters and the guys flying away, and then I did one against the Tsu with their stupid sorcerer teleporters. It don't care for fear under most circumstances, but I think hitting those jerks with fear would really help because it would lock them in place and prevent them from bouncing all over the place, teleporting like crazy and driving me nuts. So interesting, the freaks are fighting the council. So of course I just got done saying take the lieutenant out first, and I'm going after the minion, but I didn't see that lieutenant there. Which was sloppy, I should have realized he was going to be there. So there we go, minus 5, minus 10, minus 15, minus 20, minus 25 if I had hit. So he's at minus 20 to hit. So I was keeping him between minus 15 and minus 20 to hit through that whole fight. Right? Plus my 21 defense puts him at like minus 36, and his base to hit is like 55 or 57 as a lieutenant. And so yeah, I think that go after the big guy, take him out first, debuff him as much as possible, so that he doesn't keep hitting you, right? And then the minions will be no problem later on, right? You can hold them till the end if you have to. Now again, I don't do that with like martial arts because you can't debuff the enemy, and so then you're just having the lieutenant pound on you and the minions pound on you, and they're all hitting you. But if you debuff the lieutenant, then he can't hit you, right? And then it's okay to take the damage from the minions while you're pounding on the lieutenant. So at least that's just sort of the reasoning I use. Obviously, you could do it either way, and I have, right? I've been taking out the big guy last until, the episode I just did that I recorded that then I stopped because the server crashed or the server went down. Right, so basically I've been doing this for an hour, and otherwise with this character since her inception 23 levels ago, I've been hitting the minions first and then the lieutenants most of the time, and it works fine. But I think tactically it's better to hit the big guns first, just so that we can debuff them, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, at least that's what I'm going to do. And then if I decide that it wasn't working for some reason, we'll go back. But I think it will work. I know City of Heroes well enough that I'm pretty sure it will work. I love hitting two guys at once. But I hate missing. Ah, I didn't get this guy in the right angle. The other thing with minions, right? Once you've got your Fury going a little bit, you're not even going to be able to, most of the time, get the minion floored before it's already dead, right? So you don't have to really worry that much about it. The debuffing of the minions is sort of trivial, because they can't really do anything to you anyway, compared to like what a lieutenant can do, and they're going to be dead before the debuff. You know, this guy's at -10, -15, dead. Right? That guy was -10, dead. This guy, -5, -10, and -15, dead. Right? So you don't have to really worry about debuffing them when they're going to die that fast. Or, no, they're not dying. They're just being arrested. Oh, somebody's shooting at me? Did I miss someone? I thought I saw somebody shooting at me. Ah. Hello, guys. Right, so you see that? That you, like, 3 hits and they're gone. So, unless you miss, right, you can't even get them to -15, the minions, before they're finished. So, if you want to worry about debuffing somebody, the guys to worry about debuffing are the tougher ones. The ones that'll live long enough for you to actually floor them. So yeah, I'm a big sort of proponent of focus fire, of really picking one guy and just hammering on it till it's finished, and then pick the next guy rather than spreading it out. Now with tankers, I spread it out, right? Because I'm trying to like draw as much aggro as possible, and because tankers, in a lot of ways, get more powerful as they get surrounded, and I mean the brutes do to a degree as well. But when you're soloing, there generally aren't enough enemies for the buffs that you get from being surrounded to really do anything. And so I rather just take everything out as fast as possible. And I see somebody talking down below. Okay. So who was that down there? Just guys? Minion guys? Oh yeah, so one question in the comments was, do just attacks against you build fury, whether they hit or not, or does it have to be an attack that hits? So the way to test this out, maybe we'll do this at the end of this episode, but the way to test it out is to swallow a whole tray of purples, right, so that you're unhittable. Go stand in a bunch of red cons and see, and don't do anything. Don't attack them, and see if your fury goes up. And I think it will. But that's the test, right? That'll tell you whether it's attacks or hits, because they won't be able to hit you. And if the fury goes up anyway, it's because the fury is being built from you being targeted and attacked. Somebody's upstairs. Is that him? Yep, looks like Iron Hand. Okay, so this lieutenant's at -15, -20, -25. He's now floored. So he'll still hit you, of course, but he's now floored and it's going to be a lot harder for him to hit me. So yeah, he hit me twice. But not the other times, right? Which is good. And that keeps the hit points up. Now I think this guy is up here. Question is he right at the top of the stairs? Cheat this a little bit and see if I can see him. Okay, it's not, he's not right there at least. I don't know if that was him up here. I thought it was. It's got his name there. It's just amazing watching their hit points drop like crazy when Shadow Maul is going. There he is. Iron Hand. Okay, so my tactic is get him first. If I can target him. There he is. Okay, so insight, damage, luck, and off we go. -5, -10, -15, -20. -25, he's now as debuffed as I can make him. He's missed me at least 3 times already. Right, so by constantly pounding him, missed again, you see? Missed again. So between the luck, my defense, and the debuffs, I've got him pretty close to floored. I've got him as low as I can get him. There we go. Is he gonna res? 1, 2, yep. See, and a single hit hurts. He's now floored, right? Or at least I've got him as low as I'm gonna get him. I can't get him better than -25 because then the first of the hits in the sequence will wear off. So by the time you hit the 6th time, the first hit has worn off. But I still hit him enough that you can see he hit me like 3 times in that whole fight, which is pretty good. So we can't rescue Iron Hand because Iron Hand is a bad guy, so we had to beat him up. So now we're going to have to find the rest of his buddies around here. I don't know where they are. Doesn't look like there's anybody up here, so let's head down. And I guess we're going to have to head down further. And I guess everybody in this room is going to count, which will mean these guys. Whoops. Miss again. Roll a 90. Yeah, when I miss, I'm rolling 90s. 98. And wow, that finishes the story arc. Didn't realize that. Okay, arc is done. Let's head out. That's going to allow us to switch to another contact. But I also want to do the little Fury building test. So let's head out, and once the server's finished loading the zone, which is taking a long time to do, we can call our contact, Claire, who says, oh, we've leveled up. Lieutenant Jackson wanted me to pass this on to you. He said that Iron Hand was deep cover for a while, but they never thought he'd lose him. They'd lose him like that. This happens every once in a while, most frequently with the freak show. Their hedonistic lifestyle makes it easy for them to ferret out agents, and even easier for the agents to succumb to their self-indulgent ways. Okay. Does she have another contact for me? No. I guess we'll try Justine Kelly next, but first we've got to level up, so since we're in Atlas Park, let's go to Miss Liberty. And there is my favorite music. New level. What do we got? Touch of Fear or Energy Cloak? Let's go ahead with Touch of Fear. This way we can pin guys that we want to freeze. And I'm not going to worry about doing a lot of enhancing of it. But it can take enhanced accuracy, so that's what we're going to want to do. Its base accuracy is 1.2, which is great, so a single accuracy enhancer should do it. And I guess we can get like a plus fear and maybe a recharge on it. How fast does it recharge? Every 8 seconds, so maybe. I don't know. We'll see how much we use it. Okay, guys, so let's set up our test. Let me go to the hospital here. And we're going to do 6. Luck should be more than enough to completely floor them. Right? Because it's like 12 and a half. So about 75%. So that should be more than enough to floor anybody. We'll go to Talos Island and we'll get into some orange cons or something. And I'm just going to stand there with no fury. And we'll see if it builds without them hitting us. Now, I can't guarantee absolutely no hits because, of course, they could get lucky. There's a floor. I can't get them below 5% to hit. But we can see if it builds up very quickly, it'll be clear whether it's doing it from hits or just swings. So let's head over to Talos Island. Swallow a bunch of lucks. And stand there and see what happens to our Fury Bar. And that will tell us. As I said in my comment, I would be really surprised if it was only hits and not swings at us, because if that's true, then defense-based brutes would be incredibly weak compared to resistance-based brutes, because resistance-based brutes would be hit a lot more, and therefore they would build fury faster. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. The defense-based brutes would have been screaming, and everybody would have said there's no point to taking EA or any of the defense-based sets. So let's see. Let's go. Let's see. The beach might have some guys. Not sure what level these guys are. Okay, purple's a little high. Well, let's see. 20. Oh, he's a boss. Okay, so this is a good level. We just don't want to face bosses. Okay, yellows. I guess yellows will do us. All right, so the idea here is taunt them. Alright, so now is the Fury going to build? They're missing me, right? But notice the Fury is building. Right? So they haven't hit me yet, but the Fury's gone up. So all those swings are definitely building it. Right? We're up to 26 Fury. Right? I haven't touched them. So you can see for sure that it's not the hits. Look at how high my Fury is. They haven't touched me once. They haven't hit once, right? So the Fury is being built up by the swings, not the hits. So you can take that to the bank, guys. That's absolutely true. Let's make this guy scared. Okay, so he's going to cower in place. That's semi-useful. I mean, I prefer to just do damage, but I think it'll be helpful against things like two sorcerers. Make them cower. and then they can't do their stupid hurricane or teleport around. Okay, folks, I'm going to sell off these enhancements at the tech store, and we've been playing long enough, and I've got my first day of work tomorrow. Or not, I mean, I've been working for a month, but my classes start tomorrow, and I have to start teaching, so I've got to get ready, and I need to get to bed early. So until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes on the Rebirth server.